Hello everyone. Today we'll be discussing a very important topic, that is your philosophical essays. So if you see from last 3-4 years, UPSC has been concentrating on giving your philosophical topics for writing essay, right? And among aspirants there's kind of hitch, like how to start it, how to structure a philosophical essays. So today through this video we'll discuss the basic structuring thing with respect to your philosophical essay, right? And this will be the part 1 of the video where we'll be discussing very briefly the structure, right? How to start this essay, how to write it in 1100 words, right? So these two things will be our focus, how to write a philosophical essay, right? Then in part 2 of the video, in the later half, in the next video, we'll just take up one UPSC topic, and whatever we learn today about the structuring of philosophical essay, we'll apply it there, right? So one topic from this year's paper itself, right? So that you can appreciate, like we are not just giving you a abstract structure that okay, this is the structure, because telling structure is different thing and then writing it down according to the structure is different. So in the next video, we'll discuss with one example, with one essay, right? Okay. So if we talk about a good philosophical essay, right, what are its constituents? So these are the 5 constituents if you want to write a good essay. First is deciphering your or decoding the main theme. We'll discuss in detail in the coming up video, right? In-depth description with multiple dimensions. Always remember, UPSC is looking for more of breadth, not depth, right? If you write to just 2 points and write big paragraphs about that, you will get below average marks. But in spite of those 2 points, you will get score, you have explained it a lot, but still you will get low marks. In UPSC, you have to write not 2 points, but 7-8 points. They can be very brief and crisp, but you have to write more dimensions. So same comes in your essay. So that holistic approach, comprehensive approach has to be seen in an essay. Even it's a philosophical essay or whatever, simple technical essay also, more dimensions have to be there, right? Then there has to be ideological balance, same as it is in the answers where you write both positive and negative points. In essay also, a ideological balance has to be there, right? Then relatability with present happenings and simple and lucid language has to be used. So this is just a brief overview. Now we'll discuss in detail. So when I say deciphering or decoding the main thing, this is very, very important for a philosophical essay, right? Because one quote might mean different meanings for other. So in your essay paper, you have to convey the examiner that this is how I have deciphered, right? So you have to decode that theme. That term, that quote might appear very complex, but if you decode it, you will realize it's the same, like simple, your essay writing becomes very simple if you decode that theme, right? Say for example, in 2020, there was an essay, ships don't sink because of water around them. Ship sinks because of water that gets into them. So here if you see, if you have to decode, ships is nothing a metaphor for your life, right? So they are saying that there can be multiple failures in your life. People can be saying multiple things about you. They can be saying bad things about you, right? There can be different failures, different gossip around you, right? There can be many things, disappointments in your life, lot of things can be there, but that ship of your life will not sink until unless it goes into your head, right? If you have this self-awareness about yourself, that oh no, I know how to do this work, I am better than this. If some XYZ person is saying that I cannot do it, it doesn't mean I cannot do it, right? So if I have that self-awareness about myself, my ship of my life will never sink, right? I'll never be depressed about it. I'll never care about what the third person has to say about himself. Like I'll briefly just give example, say of Jack Ma. He's a big business from China. AliExpress is his, right? Very rich. So he, during the start of his life, he gave almost hundreds of interviews. Every time he was rejected. right? Imagine yourself being rejected at 100 interviews. You will start thinking that you're useless, you're worthless, you don't have any knowledge, and you will be a failure in your life. But he didn't let those failure go into his head, and today he's one of the most successful business and one of the most richest person, right, in whole of the world. So this is the main theme, right? Your ship is your ship of your life, right? How your failures, how your disappointments, how demotivation should not let affect your brain. You should know that yes, I can do it. You should have that self-awareness, that self-motivation among yourself, right? The failure should not bog you down, right? This should be a stepping stone towards your failure. So this is decoding of the main theme. Now it might appear very difficult. Okay, what is this? This is very difficult term, but no, you have decoded it. Now it becomes a simple essay, right? A simple technical essay, right? What if instead of this term they would have said you should move forward in spite of failure. Say this is a simple topic. Same thing they're asking here. They're just given a very fancy quote, right? So deciphering, decoding the main theme is very important in philosophical essays, right? If you decode it, it's very simple to write it, right? There's no rocket science, right? Same things whatever you follow in writing your essay, right? Then, like one more example I give, hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. So what they are trying to say, hands that rock the cradle, they're basically trying to say that mother, or in general if we say socialization, if hands which are doing it, if they are doing it in the right way, right, that will rule the world. Right? Basically, you have to talk about the importance of socialization, importance of mother in your life, right? If you have seen some, crime documentaries or something, right, you realize that all these serial killers, murderers, they have very disturbed childhood, right? Probably drug abuse among their mothers or broken families, right? The hand that is rocking their cradle is very, not good, right? Not giving them a very stable childhood, right? So that is very important. That person who is rocking your cradle, your mother, your socialization is very, very important. How you will fare in your, later life. So this becomes now very easy. You can again give examples from different political lives. Like for example, Mahatma Gandhi, he has always told that, biggest impact on his life or from his mother, Putli Bai. Right? Even though she was illiterate, but she was highly religious lady and she knew how to bring up children. Right? So you have deciphered the topics, and now it becomes very easy to generate points, right? The next is your in-depth description with multiple dimensions. Very important. Like I told you, more of breadth rather than depth, right? Now this will be around this structure you can use. Write different examples from political life, economic life, sociological, technological, legal, environmental, ethics, right? This analysis has to be there. When we talked about this, ships don't sink, right? You give different example. Political, you can say, like for example, the party which is ruling India right now, BJP, right? In 1950s, it used to get 1 or 2 seats, right? But they still, over the years now, they have worked hard, right? Now for 2 times, they have emerged the single largest party, right? So they didn't allow themselves, they improved themselves, right? Instead of getting bogged down, they improved themselves, and now they have been ruling as a single largest party. Like for 2 majority, they have won in the elections, right? So this example is from polity. Same from economic life, you can give sociological, technological life, legal aspect, environmental aspect. So this will increase the different dimensions in your essay, right? Then also you can discuss at the level of personal, you can give some personal example, individual level, or at the societal level. So this should be your next step towards writing philosophical essay. Decipher the topic, decode the theme, in-depth description with multiple dimensions. This is, I am telling you the constituents. So there's one previous video available on the channel only. It's a 1-hour video where I have discussed in a very much detail how to write essay, right? What are the different, like how to introduce your essay, how to write the body of your essay. Just go back and see it, right? Before you complete this video, please go back and see that video also, because it's a 1-hour video, right? In the part 2 of the video, we'll also briefly discuss how we'll start our essay, how the body of your essay will look, right? Here we are just discussing with respect to your philosophical essay, right? The basic things we should know before writing a philosophical essay, right? So do go back today and watch that video. I'll just link it in the description box also, right? Then there has to be an ideological balance. A balanced approach has to be there, right? Whatever topic you are taking up, you cannot say everything negative about it or everything positive about it, right? You have to have this balanced approach. Like, okay, these are the positive things, these are the negative things. Same you do in your answers, right? Then you adhere to and preserve constitutional values, societal ideals, whatever you are writing, right? They should adhere to these ideals. Always choose a middle path at the end, right? Don't write extreme essays, right? Only writing negative things or only writing positive things. Choose a middle path. Discuss both the things, and after that you discuss a middle path that, okay, this is the way forward, how the things should be, right? Like, for example, that ship essay only. You cannot say that, you should not take constructive criticism of somebody. If somebody is given a constructive criticism, that doesn't mean you don't have to listen to him because it's your own life, you are self-aware. Constructive criticism you can take to improve, but not to, think yourself as a lesser being or seeing yourself as worthless, right? So these things you have to choose a middle path, and don't be too, like I said, don't be too critical and pessimistic. A positive approach should be, you are going to be a civil servant, people will be depending upon your positive approach, or you are only pessimistic, right? How will you rule your, not rule, how will you work in your district, right? So these things should show in your essay. Essay is of 1100 marks. Your whole personality gets exposed in this 1100 marks. So be very particular about what are you writing in your essay, right? 150 marks, answers, words answer, or 250 words, very technical. But here your whole ideals, your whole personality gets exposed, right? And essay is the easiest to score, but also sometimes if you do blunders, you will get very less marks, right? Okay, moving forward. So now, fourth thing is relatability with the present happenings. Even if it's a philosophical essay, you should be able to relate it with, like I gave the example of Chinese businessman Jack Ma, right? So you should be able to, relate it with present happenings, present examples from newspapers, use of current affairs, examples from life of famous personalities, like I told you about Mahatma Gandhi, right? All these things should be included in your essay. What doesn't matter if it's a philosophical topic, you have to relate it with present happenings, right? And only first step, like I said, only if you are able to decode or decipher the main theme of the essay, then only you can relate it with the present happenings. Then last, this is the last point, use of very simple and lucid language. So I'll give you one example here. There was I think 2015 or 16 in top 50 there was a ranker. So I watched her videos. She was a major in literature, right? She used to write poems and all. So in her first attempt, she got very less marks, 80 out of 250 marks, right? So she said when she analyzed, she realized that, even though her hold for language was very good, she was writing, different poems and everything, giving very elaborate, literally starting in the essay, but still she scored very less marks, 80 marks, right? So what was the problem? The essay has to be very simple and lucid. It should be like you're conversing with the examiner. You're telling him a story, you're weaving a story, right? It should be that simple. Okay? So these are the 5 points which you should keep in mind when you are attempting a philosophical essay. Now, how to structure your essay, how to start it, how to end it, how does different structuring of body of your essay should be there, right? That is has been elaborately discussed in that 1-hour video, but very quickly I'll discuss it here also. What is the structure? So anecdote, try to start your answer with the anecdote. Anecdote is a very, interesting story or something. You bind the attention of the examiner, right? Like that ship essay, you can start with the story of Jack Ma, tell how he faced failures and everything, but he didn't allow it to, demotivate him. So that story. And then you can accompany with some, questions at the end after writing, the anecdote that, okay, we'll now discuss how the self-motivation and how believing in yourself is very important. It is important because it will not let your ship of life sink, right? So start your essay with some anecdote. Then introduction is very, very important in philosophical essay. Why I am saying it's important everywhere in if normal essays are, because here you are explaining to the examiner how you have interpreted the topic. Like I told you, philosophical essay can have different interpretations, right? It is a possibility. Obviously, most of the people will give that generic thing only, but some other person might evaluate or decipher in a different manner. So that should show in your introduction. Tell the meaning of the quote, how you have deciphered it in the introduction itself. So usually if you are writing any simple essay, I just say that write 1-page introduction or something. Here, even if you go about 1.5 page also, it's okay, but properly explain it. What should the examiner expect in the upcoming pages, right? Then comes your body of your essay. Here, two parts, temporal aspect and spatial aspect. Temporal aspect means examples from the history. Try to relate from historical perspective, right? Any from ancient India, from your medieval India, or from your modern India, anything. You can, like for example, you can again give the example of a freedom struggle. Right? It started from 1857 and we achieved it in 1947. What if, our leaders would have gone demotivated, like, okay, this is our fate, Britishers will now rule till eternity, right? But no, we didn't let it allow it. So this is an example from history. So temporal aspect, always try to relate it from your historical aspect. Say, if any essay on democracy is there, you can say that, okay, in Vedic age also, or during the 6th century BC when republics emerged, so rudimentary form of democracy started emerging, right? You give an evolution of democracy in the temporal aspect, right? And then when you end it, write a connecting line, a connecting paragraph that let's now discuss in the modern world. So here you discuss the spatial aspect, which is the same pestle approach, different dimensions, right? Where you will be discussing the different dimensions. Right? So this is a very brief thing I am giving you. I'll say it again, there's a video, 1-hour video on this whole thing with proper examples, right? Watch that video. Then you conclude your essay. Conclusion should always be solution oriented. You are going to be a civil servant. In layman term, if you say your function is to give solutions to problems, that should reflect in your essay. Always futuristic approach in the conclusion. When you are ending your essay, give a futuristic, novel ways, best practices with other countries or other states are following, right? With respect to that essay, right? Like this philosophical essay, you might have to tell that, inculcation of morals or support from the family, something like that will have more component here, right? But always solution oriented in your conclusion, right? So this is just a picture of that video which I am talking about, right? Just go back today and I've told you the basic characteristics, features of a philosophical essay which you should be knowing, right? Little different from your other topic essay, technical essays, but with examples you can just watch this video, right? Now your part 2 of this video, which will be uploaded in some time, we will discuss this essay. You cannot step twice in the same river. I would just suggest every student, just do some brainstorming. I've told you a different, specific structure and what points to be followed in a philosophical essay. Just go back today, do some brainstorming on this topic and then watch my video, right? We'll do a very elaborate video on this. Everything I'll tell you, anecdote, how to introduce it, what are the different dimensions you have to discuss, how to write a conclusion, right? And you'll, trust me, you will be very clear and very confident in writing philosophical essays, right? So do this exercise from your side also. Like I said, your brain should have your own ideas before you adopt others' ideas, right? Because novelty goes away when you keep on watching other people's strategies. They are important, something which might have worked. Like for example, during my attempts, I got 154 and 157 marks twice, right? Something worked for me. The same structures worked for me, right? So I am telling you this information, but it doesn't mean that you don't brainstorm, you don't adapt this strategy. I also adapted my strategy. I did some research and everything, and then I formulated my own strategy, and that worked for me. So go back today, brainstorm on this topic, and in next video we'll do an elaborate solution. It's from 2022, this year's paper only. We'll do an elaborate discussion on this, right? So that's all from my side today. Thank you.